welcome everyone. Sorry we are a little bit late coming on today. We are having Zoom issues, but we are all fixed now. My name is Jessica Healy. I'm the president for the Isle of Wight Chamber of Commerce. And I just want to welcome you all to our cybersecurity type of chat today. And we're kind of piggybacking off of the cyber attack on the pipeline last week, that if you were local to Smithfield, you probably stood in line or sat in line for gas for as much as an hour last week. Everything seems to be back to normal. But I'm going to go ahead and introduce our co-host. We have Keith Compton, financial advisor with Edward Jones in Carrollton. How you doing, Keith?
I'm well, Jessica. Thank you again for our wonderful chamber hosting this opportunity for us to get together and have a little afternoon chat about some things that are of concern to our friends and our family.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for continuing to be our wonderful co-host on these chats. We also have Clay Vaughn with us, owner of Vaughn Tech. How you doing, Clay?
All right. Thank you guys for having me today.
Absolutely. And also Jennifer Molesworth. How you doing, Jen?
Hi everybody.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I know Keith's going to be talking about securing your financial assets, which is something that all of us should be doing as well. And then Clay and Jennifer are going to touch on securing your data and ransomware and cyber attacks and things of that nature. So Keith, I'm just going to go ahead and pass the mic over to you. We'll get this chat started.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. And again, thank you, Clay and Jen, for joining us. I know there's a lot of folks who sat down in my office and asked about how is their data protected? Will this thing cause the market to go down? But let me just say that all of this thing really wraps around each individual and what is important to them. And so if you haven't had the opportunity to be on our chat before, my name is Keith Compton. I have the Edward Jones office out in Carrollton, but Jeffrey and Phil out in Smithfield, also with Edward Jones. And we are here to serve our community by ensuring that they can meet their goals. Much like Clay and Jennifer did, Jen does. As a matter of fact, I've met them a while before, and they actually helped me with taking care of something that was important to me, and that was taking care of my daughter's computer so that she could get on and do her schoolwork, which was a goal. And so when we take a look at what's important to our folks' goals and how we can help them, we have this thing called the Internet of Things. Everything's connected. You can go on the internet, Google www.edwardjones.com. You can go out, find a financial advisor. You can go out and talk about the marketing and investing. You can see the latest news, which to me is really about financial fitness. And when I want to know if I'm being too risky or not being risky enough, or if I want to understand what's important, I got to start off with myself. What are my goals? What do I want to accomplish? Which one of the greatest things about having Clay and Jen in there is that was the first question Jen asked me. Well, what do I want this computer to do for my daughter? What does she need to have access for? And then how can I protect her? And so having people like that in our community is very important. So I'm actually going to just tell you, financial fitness really begins with making sure that we understand what's important to us. And we're going to continue this conversation really as we ask, how do I protect myself in this internet world that's connected, by understanding the threats that are out there. And I think Clay and Jen, you guys are the experts on that field in our community, which is awesome in our community. So I'm going to turn it back to Clay.
Yeah. So honestly, we have a saying in the computer industry, basically, is that without the data, the computer's a doorstop. So it's really the most valuable asset you could have on the machine. And we say it all the time: backup, backup, backup. We have another saying that any data that you don't have two copies of is data that you don't worry about losing. So it's something to think about and keep in mind. Honestly, I was really floored to find out that this even happened to this pipeline. Honestly, because I mean, in 2021 by now, everybody should know the importance of having one, a backup plan, and two, a disaster recovery plan. So when things do go south, you have a plan of action to be able to bring it back up and get it back up and running as quickly as possible. And we can't stress that enough, how important it is to back up your data. I mean, and we custom tailor stuff for backup systems for folks all the time up here. And some people's needs are a little bit different than others. Obviously, a small business would be way different than a actual critical infrastructure pipeline. Excuse me. But yeah, we can't harp enough about how important it is to make sure that you back up your data. If you don't do anything else with the computer, you should at least be doing that. It's very, very important to be able to do that, especially this day and age. So I mean, you just save yourself thousands of dollars. Just your standard data recovery. If something does go south and we can't recover here at the shop, because we're actually pretty good at doing it ourselves, but we're not a clean room facility. So I mean, you're talking about it. It's going to start at about $700, and it's going to go on up from there. And honestly, the average bill, Jen, what would you say is probably like maybe
$1,200 to $1,500 for a data
or so.
full-blown clean room data recovery.
So a NAS solution, which is a network attached storage solution, which for like a small office or something would work great. Matter of fact, we just put one in this week, and it's actually and it's actually a double redundancy backup system. But I'll explain a little bit about that in a minute. But that whole setup was, what was that? That was about 700, somewhere around there.
Well, with labor, it ran right around the $1,000 mark with labor, but it's pretty reasonable for a small business. If you're going to be down for a day or two, you can lose well more than that. So,
and it does seem like a lot of money up front. So you get with Keith, get him to make you some money, and then and then we'll come back and we'll get you a good data backup solution set up for you guys. But yeah, honestly, it's probably the most single thing. All the time that you spend on putting things into the computer, so whether you use QuickBooks or your point of sale system, whatever it may be, you spend all that time on that. So just by having a backup on that, so that you can save all that time from having to do. Could you imagine actually have to start all over again? I mean, you got a business been around for 10 years and have to start all over again with all your data entry in there. So just the amount of time that you're going to save is going to be well worth it to make sure that it's backed up and secure.
Let me just cut into this. Also is important just for the personal user, just for your laptop at home or your computer, your desktop at home. Losing your data is one of the biggest. People come in, crash hard drive, bad computer, and they're all the time, and their data wasn't backed up, and they lose everything. Pictures, all those personal things, is also important to people. So, data backup is like one of the few things that I really stress on. That and an antivirus software.
Yeah.
Clay and Jen, Jen, you've actually brought up a good point. I was going to say, do you have any best practices for like daily best practices for a small business and or a personal laptop that you would suggest to do to make sure that everything is secure on the daily? And do you have any like product recommendations? And I'm kind of personally asking because I know I probably have like 10,000 pictures on my laptop, and I don't even know what to do with them. Like put them on an external hard drive or
Yeah, for the individual themselves, an external hard drive is great. So but you still have to keep in mind that even though you're backing up to that even that too can, anything that's man-made subject to malfunction. So it doesn't matter what you have. So there's a chance it could go out. The whole key is to make sure you have at least more than one copy of the data that you want to have.
I always stress two. Right. I always stress a cloud backup, and it's just a storage backup. So you have your documents, your pictures, the important documents, your data, and backing up to an external, you can do, a full-blown, full copy of your entire system. So we can, just to redeploy that. So there's two ways to do it. But redundancy is always important when you're doing data backup, whether it be, again, personal or business. And we're happy to help with that at any time. And even home users, it's not an expensive, it's an external backup, which can run, around, we sell 1 terabytes at around $70, and a good program. And there are some programs out there that are no cost that work great. And then, you can start paid ones like Carbonite, and they have a cloud storage, and I just find that to be expensive and sometimes a lot more difficult to deploy. However, it is a backup. You want something. I'd rather have something that's difficult than nothing at all.
Yeah, and I like exactly what you guys are talking about. The first thing you have to do, it kind of almost sounds like some of the rules of the road that you should think about is really what's important, what's your strategy, what is this for, and then understand your data. And I mean, that's what we do in our office for both small businesses and individuals, which you guys do for small businesses and individuals locally here, is what are the risks that are out there? And then what are the steps to mitigate those risks? I think it's fantastic that we can go to you guys as experts and get those answers, because people are clamoring for that. Case in point, I had a wonderful folks that came into office and they wanted to know, just from my perspective, can I stop working? Am I ready? Well, what is it that you're trying to do? Here are the risks if you do or don't. Do you have the quality things that's going to get you there? And then let's think of tomorrow. And I know in your guys' field, things happen really fast, with Moore's Law, when we talk about computing and capability. My field, as much as people think everything should be doing happens daily, really, we need to look more long-term in my field of work, because it's the long-term results that matter most. If I listen to the pundits daily, I would be in trouble every day. But if I think of my goal, just like Jessica mentioned, I got 10,000 pictures. What do I do with this? She can go to you guys and you guys will find a solution. Clay,
Absolutely.
Jen?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
No problem. That's what we do.
So we talked about backing up, and let's switch over to talking about how to secure and either your data, and I know Keith, you're going to touch on that, like secure your finances. So can we talk a little bit about that? Just programs that you can have or on your computer or in your daily life, especially with you dealing with, like you said, Keith, hey, I want to retire. Can I do that? Will I be secure, right, in my investments? So let's chat a little bit about that.
Well, since we have the experts in protecting data in the room, I think they should go first, and then we'll feed off of Clay and Jen. Because I think that's important, because everything is actually on the internet and I can see everything, but do I need to see everything? Do I need to let everything into my little realm? And I think Clay and Jen have some great ideas of how we can help with that.
I can address some of that. If you're talking about like your daily browsing and that kind of thing, first of all, a good antivirus on any computer, business, personal, or otherwise, is always important. It will prevent you usually from hitting some of those sites that are very dangerous that you may not know that you're coming across. The other thing is to be aware. You're on a news website and you see a lot of what look like news articles are actually ads, and they're paid ads, and you click on those, and a lot of these sites are not always discerning on who they allow pay for these ads. So you don't know where you're going and how healthy that site is you're going. Now, good antivirus should stop you, but not always. The other thing is where a lot of ransomware and a lot of those things that come through and worms are emails. If you get we've all gotten spam emails and that kind of thing, and it looks legit. There might be one coming in from Amazon or Bank of America or wherever, and it has the logo, it has the symbol, it has all that. But if you look at the email address, it's not quite right.
Right.
If you're not sure of where that source is, or if you didn't make a purchase from Amazon that looks like that or anything, you need to call Amazon directly. You do not respond to those emails. Do not click on those emails. You need to go directly to the source that claims that is from. Now, if you have never opened a Bank of America account, well, you just delete that. Don't click on it. Just leave it, delete it. We get a lot of people coming in with questions about that weekly. And that's where a lot of viruses come through, or they get your information, and then somebody calls you from India and they want to log into your computer. It's just a big open door. So you need to be hyper aware of where you're clicking. It's kind of like situational awareness. You need to be aware too on the internet.
And just to add to what Jen's talking about with the click and stuff, so I just read an article the other day that the most people always ask me, Clay, how'd I get hacked, or I've been hacked or something. So first off, you probably didn't really get hacked. A hack is an actual direct intentional. I focused on your machine and I decided to compromise this system. Most people get phished, which is actually they get tricked into, like Jen's talking about, with like a bogus email, and they go to the site and they click on it thinking, oh, okay, I need to log in my Facebook or whatever, and then all of a sudden, so that they actually went to a fake website that actually looked like Facebook, and they put their credentials in there. So we see that happen quite a bit. This article I was reading the other day said that what they're doing now is that, so there's two different types of alphabets on there. There's your regular alphabet that you're used to seeing, but then they also have acrylic alphabet. So they can actually take certain characters and use acrylic characters and register that domain to make it look like it almost looks exactly the same, except for that one acrylic character in it. So it might be an A, but instead of it being like a traditional A, it'll actually be the A. It's got a little bit of slant down to the bottom of the backstroke on it. And that's actually a completely different domain than what these people were actually intending to go to. And it looks almost like the real thing. And it's really hard. It's really hard to spot those. But that's one of the biggest things that you need to be aware of is like looking at URL bar and know where you're going and what you're doing when you put it in there. And the number one way people get phished, they misspell a URL. Like you try to go to Google and you type goggles instead. And somebody bought the goggle domain. So and then what they did is they make it look like it's a Google page. And said next thing you know, you're trying to log into some fake page, and then all of a sudden your Gmail's compromised. And you wonder why. But that's what happened. Just simple typos like that can cause major problems. So there's big money in these guys buying these misspelled domains and actually turning them into malicious websites. So it's something else. So that's why a good antivirus. We actually offer ESET here, and we sell that. We are an authorized reseller for them, and it's great software. They have a couple different levels of security depending on what you really want to do with it. Their base security they have, I think it's like $40 a year, so it's well worth it. And it's like I said, it'll save you a lot of aggravation down the road, and hopefully protect you from going to bad websites, amongst other things. If you actually get actual viruses or infections on the machine, it'll stop those as well. So I've noticed that most of the people we put on there very rarely do they have problems with infections after the fact.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And you're right. You know, folks wait until they retire to go talk to a financial advisor. But just like they're talking about antivirus for your internet, for your connectivity, financial advisors can be that antivirus for your financial plan. Because we help you make sure that you don't get hacked. We help you make sure that you don't click on the wrong thing. I had a young man that just asked me a question about just because he heard of this investment. Is it a great one, Keith? It's got all this, it's awesome. You know, should I jump in? You know, well, we looked at it and I said, that doesn't meet your goal. And oh, by the way, that particular investment has completely underperformed. No matter what that shiny silver cute penny looks like, why would you risk your goal and the quality of the stuff that you are doing? So stick with quality things. Use your FAs as your financial advisors, whether it's me, Jeffrey, or Phil, as that antivirus. And then if you're not sure, again, true and trusted. There's always something cool and shiny. Just as they mentioned, was Google spelled wrong? Was Amazon spelled wrong? Am I giving out my home address to somebody that I do not know? So we can be that folks that help you to stay financially fit by focusing on your goal. Again, from a financial perspective, know what your strategy is. Make sure that you have a diversified portfolio, quality investments. Have them for the goal of your portfolio. And if you're not sure, you reach out, you call them. And if you don't have that person that can reach out, that you can reach out to that's local, you know, Phil, Jeffrey, and I are right around the corner. And we had folks stop in today. I know where Clay and Jen are. They're right around the corner. If I have a question, I can go to them.
Absolutely.
I love what you said, Jen, about situational awareness. That's so applicable today in this day and age, especially with everything during the pandemic and even coming out of the pandemic. Everything is digital. So so much activity is happening. It's just interesting to see how a lot of businesses, if they weren't utilizing any kind of digital platforms before the pandemic, they certainly are now. Just like even us with the chamber, you know, we had some things and that we would do, but, you know, especially this last year, everything we've done has been virtual. And even with Zoom, you know, we saw, I'm sure all of us saw stories when everybody was getting on Zoom, their Zooms were getting hacked and things were showing up that shouldn't have been.
We have never sold as many webcams as what we did during that. Never, not once.
Exactly.
It was a rush on them. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I really like that, Jen, because you don't really think about situational awareness when you're on your computer, or what people can see and what you're allowing them to see. So that was a great takeaway for sure. Do either of you have any extra pointers or tips or anything you want to add?
I have a couple of things. What we see the most here are what are called scams or phishing scams, as Clay touched on phishing. There's a difference between people come in, and it happens all the time. These people are predators and they're just scum of the earth, excuse me. They're horrible. They just prey on the public and they fish around. They make phone calls, or it may be a pop-up on your screen and it has an 800 number on there, and it, you know, it's flashing and blaring noise at you. And they call the number and they allow these people to log into their computer. That's a scam. They're trying to get you. They want 200, 400, 4,000, whatever they want from you. It's not real.
They charge a lot more than what we do to fix it.
Yeah. It's exactly.
If there was actually a problem in
I
the
mean,
first place.
you could buy a new computer for majority of what that cost is. So they infuriate me because I see it so often.
And it's very
and they
prevalent.
talk fast and they log in and they can, you know, you do your banking online, you do your investment accounts online, you do a lot of things online, and you're, you know, so as Clay has always said, and we stress here, you wouldn't give a stranger the keys to your house. Don't give them the keys to your computer. Don't let them log into your computer. There's a very difference if you call us and you know us and you can come in this store and yell at us. I tell people we're a brick and mortar store. If you want us to remote in, we can do that, but it's an arrangement with us. We're not coming in to get your information, we're coming in to fix. They are coming in to get your data. That's what they want. They want your banking information, your passwords, and there's usually a team of 2 working behind the scenes, and they're working to, you know, they blank off your screen so it looks like they're not doing anything, and there's someone working in there behind the scenes getting your passwords, all of that stuff. So do not ever let somebody into your computer ever, 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 ever. Sorry.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That is so, I feel so bad for some people that come in and the banks catch them. The banks are like, this isn't real. We're not gonna let you take money out. And they send them to us, and we have to clean them up and get those people that, you know, those people out of their systems. And they have to go through and change all of their passwords on all their accounts, on their network, on everything. All because they scared them.
Right.
And you know, as it always says, IRS is not going to call you. They're going to send you 20,000 letters and then knock on your door. They're not calling you. Microsoft doesn't care about you.
Yeah, Microsoft definitely is going to call you.
They don't want anything. Who else? All of them. I mean, we've had people call here and say, this is Bob from Windows. Well, Windows is a product, not a company. So again, situational awareness. But I can expound on this for hours because it just is one of my pet peeves with these.
Well, no, it's a great reminder, Jen. Thank you. Sometimes you can't tell folks, you know, something enough. We do have a question from Kim Hasty. I work on a VPN. Yep. Do I need a separate security system for that? And they also said that she also said, I love Clay and Jennifer. They have helped me with many times with tech stuff.
Oh yeah, Kim's awesome. So the VPN virtual private network services. All the network traffic actually goes through the antivirus on the system, even if you use a VPN to do that. So it should still offer you protection regardless of whether how you're getting to the internet and stuff. So basically, the VPN, instead of you actually directly accessing your internet service provider, aka Spectrum or Verizon or whoever you may have that offers you the internet, you're actually going to another server a little bit farther away. So it hides your identity. It's basically the sole reason. So there's other purposes for it too. Sometimes it's a security thing where, like I said, different medical facilities will communicate with VPNs and critical infrastructure stuff like pipeline places, for example. They'll use VPNs to communicate with each other, but the AV will actually, it'll cover your end of it. So that regardless of how you connect to the internet. So yeah, you should be fine, Kim.
Thanks, Clay. Does any of our viewers have any other questions? Just type them in.
While we're waiting for those questions to come in, I love what Jen was basically saying is make sure you understand what you're doing. And so part of also making sure you prepare for the unexpected, make sure you back up your data, because without your data, what is really your ability to do some of the work you need to do. So likewise, from a financial perspective, you need to make sure that what can you control? I can't control certain things, the day-to-day fluctuations, the economy, political environment. I don't have to worry about all those things. What I need to control is me, my emotions, and make sure that I've partnered with someone whom I trust. And if that person whom I trust, I need to be able to sit down and go over when financial things change. New house, new job, gonna go buy a car, kids going to school, new baby, all those big rocks of life, to make sure that I sit down with that person. Again, like I said, I'm here locally, Phil's in Smithfield, Jeffrey's in Smithfield. We serve our community. Don't let your emotions get the better of you when you're trying to think of what your goals that you want. I got to protect those 10,000 pictures, because just like we kicked Sammy out the door on Saturday for graduation, we went back and we got some of those baby pictures to embarrass him. But if we had not protected those baby pictures, we wouldn't have been able to do that. If I didn't have the computer from Clay and Jen from Hannah's computer, I wouldn't be able to get some of that work to show off when all the family and friends came in. So the things that's important, protected by being smart, talking to experts, and making sure that you know what your strategy is and someone that can help you ensure you stay on track with it.
Absolutely, Keith. Thank you. I also wanted to mention, I meant to say this when I introduced you, Clay and Jennifer, that Vontex, our tech partner for the New Hamtown Hub. So Clay, you hooked us up with our internet, and man, I've never seen internet so fast.
Good. I'm definitely glad it's working down there for you guys.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Been our
We have
pleasure.
a fantastic system, and we appreciate your partnership, and so glad that you both could be on the chat with us today, and further that discussion.
Thank you, guys. We definitely appreciate it.
All right, I don't see any other questions coming in. Any last words?
Appreciate y'all's time.
I also recommend, if anybody has any questions or they wanted some help with this, please don't hesitate to contact us. We'd be happy to help. Happy to help.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've gotten asked questions. Very welcome and very take the time to understand your questions. And likewise, one thing we didn't have, Clay and Jen, number, so we can get that out.
Oh, so we can 279-8385.
Awesome. And likewise, you can give us a call here at our office, 238-2740. Dina and I would be glad to take the time to ensure that you're protected with the things that's important to you, help keep you focused on your strategy, make sure that you're prepared for the ups and downs. And, go to the Edward Jones website. They have a great financial fitness little page, talks about if you have a first bank account, earning a paycheck, financial credit, all those little things that are important to you. And so absolutely give us a call. But the most important thing is it's a great community. Look at what our chamber is able to do for us. And so go join.
Yeah, we would love some new members. And if anyone's watching. No, but thank you both so much. And thank you everyone for tuning in today for today's chat. We have another one coming up in June. We'll get that information out pretty soon to everyone. Also, this is a recorded, it's all live now, but it is recorded and it'll be posted on our website and our YouTube channel. So you can go back and reference it and watch it at a later date. But thank you all so much for joining us for the chat today.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everybody take care.
Yeah.
Bye.